Hi students, it's Mrs. Dixon, and I'm talking to you again about irregular verbs, but today we're specifically focusing on helping verbs and how we use those to when we're using verbs. Same tools are available. The dictionary is available, um, and then I've got the directions up there. After watching this video, you're going to complete this activity by yourself. And uh, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to activate my highlighter because I do like to highlight. So right here it says an irregular verb is a verb that does not end in ed in the past tense. So this is our third activity working with irregular verbs. And remember, I said next week when we take our unit reading test, a couple of the questions actually are about using irregular verbs. And one of the questions even has a helping verb. Most irregular verbs change spelling when they are used with helping verbs. Often the new spelling uses an N or an EN to show past tense. I can think of a word, take, taken. And that's the example they use here. Helping verbs are verbs that come before the verb. And they're usually things like have, had. They have there twice. I think they meant to say has. Have, had, has. Because if you look down below, Mr. Igler has taken or has took. And remember what they said. They said that in this directions, when I say they, I mean that usually you have a helping verb and then the verb has an N or an EN to show past tense. Not always, but usually. So, taken. Took can stand by itself. Mr. Igler took several trips. You would not have a has next to took. Let's try a couple of these together. So, one of the things that I have noticed with things like verbs and irregular verbs is reading it to myself and listening to what sounds right is usually a really good way to figure out the right answer. And that's because you have been using these words all of your life. So you probably know the answer. So let's look at the first one. The twins have grown, have grew. Now remember what they said up here, an N or an EN. Now I notice that on this one, grown has an N. Have grew? Grew can stand by itself. It does not need a helping verb. So the twins have grown several inches since I saw them. Have grown would be the correct thing. Now notice it says underline. That's what the directions say. That is why I'm underlining. Number 2, the doctor has written, I'm going to put a line under that N, or has wrote many prescriptions this month. Well, I think about my rule, N or EN, and written has an N. Plus, it sounds right. Wrote can stand by itself. The doctor wrote many prescriptions. It does not need a helping verb. So, has written would be the answer. I want you to try the rest of these on your own. And again, since we don't have a current draft yet, you will next week. You can't do that section. But next week you can really, once you've got your draft, you can think about your helping verbs and make sure that you're using them correctly. Good luck. Remember, the N matters. Have a good afternoon.